Well, good morning or good evening or good afternoon or good night or good grief. I'm just putting this out here for those of us who are not watching the Olympics. Maybe some of you started to try to watch the Olympics because this is the 26th, excuse me, and it started today. And in a lot of families in America and around the world, the Olympics happens every 4 years. The Summer Olympics happens every 4 years. And the coolest thing sometimes is the opening ceremony. Nobody watches the closing ceremonies because those closing ceremonies are like, who cares? But we like to watch the opening ceremonies and see what they, what feel thing they do, and and because it's always kind of cool, and see the parade of athletes, and wait for our guys, yay, go USA, right? We're number one, and it's sort of a thing that maybe you don't set this evening aside and wear your finest USA clothes or anything, but some people do. Uh, However, tonight was different. Tonight was different. I actually noticed a little bit. I noticed probably about maybe a couple hours before the opening ceremony started that the Olympics started today. Sorry, I've been busy. You might notice a little. My shirt's a little saggy because the worst thing in the world happened for a dude in the South. Worst thing. The AC here is not functioning nearly at its top level or its bottom third level. So it's the worst thing that can happen to a dude in the South, especially this time of year. But in any case, I thought, well, maybe I'll tune in. And my wife is here, and she tuned in, and we talked for a second, and she asked me if I'd watch any of it, and I said no, and she said she tried to watch, but apparently, if you're a Christian and you mean it, they don't want you to watch. They just don't want you to be a part of it. We're being cut out, and you know what? And certain things, I'm perfectly good with being cut out. When the CEO of Starbucks says that if you're pro-life, you can't you don't have to visit his stores. Okay, good enough. Your coffee tastes burnt and it's not flavorful. None of it is. No, thank you. I can get my dessert coffees at home, or I could just go to Dunkin' or Buddy Brew or somewhere else. I don't have to go to Starbucks. I'm not addicted to that crap. I'm not. Um, when Pink says that she doesn't want anybody who's pro-life to listen to her music. First of all, if Pink walked in this room right now, I would have no idea who that little white girl was. I have any idea. So, honey, you're not that important. We don't care. So the idea is that I don't care. Okay, if you don't want me to participate, especially in the opening ceremonies, then I won't. And I know that some people are saying, Willie, you're being way too sensitive. No, this was an artistic thing. And no, the Last Supper, although it was described in the Bible, is not a central part of my faith. It is not. It's an important event. And yes, Leonardo da Vinci um, painted something that he got from the scriptures. And no, it's not a picture. I mean, he wasn't there to photograph the event. Uh, but what we know is that the idea of this painting is a Christian is it's not even a religious one. It's a Christian idea, an ideal, and to see it parodied, especially in the way it was parodied, is not something I'm interested in participating in. Well, hey everybody, my name is William Watson of the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. I've got something to ask my friends across the aisle who don't watch these videos, so you can ask them this for me. I thought that the left and the Democrat Party in particular was fighting this fight against Trump to save our democracy. We just save our democracy. First of all, we don't live in a democracy. And second of all, we live in a republic, especially at the federal level. So I don't know what they're talking about, and neither do they. But I think they're talking about the ability for regular people to participate in the political process, that no one would be disenfranchised. You know where I'm going with this, right? Until a couple of days ago, the presumptive nominee of the Democrat Party for president of the United States was Joe Biden, who is the incumbent president. Well, the and I hate to call it a performance, because if it's a performance, then we are all in trouble. But how we saw President Biden at the debate was, it was troubling for a lot of people. It was troubling. He said he made a mistake. Well, the mistake was doing it. Uh, and you wonder why. Well, why did Trump do it? Well, because he was called out, and if he had not done it, then you'd get what you start to hear now. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. The idea is that he was just not on it. I'll be as nice as I can. Was not on his game. How about that? Or maybe the game has passed him by. Again, I'm going to try to be as nice as I can. And not only did I see it and you see it, and some of us have been watching it for a long time, I think a lot of Americans saw it. And they also saw that the left and the Democrat Party and the elite had been putting this positive spin on the ability of President Biden. That all came crashing down, because it was no way that any of that could have been true. That he was still as sharp as he ever was, that he was still as energetic as he ever was. That was just obviously not true. You hear James Clyburn saying he was over prepared. What? Have you ever been over prepared for anything? I don't know anybody who's been over prepared. Now, you can study for a test and not sleep. You can call that over prepared, or you could just be a dumbass and say, well, I should have studied and then got some rest before the test. So this whole idea that James Clyburn said, I've seen a lot, and I saw when he was over prepared. No, he was not. Our president has been struggling. I blame Jill, but that's just me. But what they have done is a bloodless coup. 14 million people voted for President Biden in the Democrat primaries because they wanted him to be the candidate. If they wanted somebody else to be the candidate, they would have voted for them. There were other people running. Or they could have just not voted and waited till this thing went to convention. But what happened was the old bait and switch. The person you thought you were voting for, nah, we're going to convince them not to run. And then we're going to replace him with somebody else, which is just the opposite of democracy. But it's bang on for fascism or communism. This is the person you're voting for. What? Well, we didn't vote for them. Yeah, I know. That's the candidate now. That's not democracy. That's not protecting democracy. The only way that they could have protected democracy, if indeed President Biden wasn't able to run, was to open their convention up, get candidates, and let them go at it. And yes, it would have caused absolute chaos at their convention, which would have been great, which would have made it TV worth watching. But they didn't want that, because they're more concerned with what it looks like than what it is, even if they have to go a complete 180 against what democracy really is, which means they don't believe in democracy. They never have. the left and Democrats are some of the people who are the most amazing people to me in the world because they can just say whatever with a straight face and with passion in their voice and not believe a word they're saying, which is absolutely amazing. And over again, which is the more amazing part, is over and over again they can do this. It's crazy. I mean, there's a sociopathic vibe to all that, and you can just say anything. No, you don't believe it. No, it's not true. Again and again, that you can get good at it. You can get good at it. Crazy how so many people on the left can do that, and how they can turn on a dime. How when in one week George Clooney is celebrating Joe Biden like he is a Rocky, and then in just a number of days from that, be calling for the dude to step down. But I thought you said he was. I thought you said he was good to go. I, so he's not. When did you find out? When did you change your mind? Oh, and Kamala Harris is the best choice you have. Well, wait a minute. There shouldn't have been any. She wasn't running for president this time. So the only thing that would have been democratic would have been an open convention, don't you think? However, Democrats aren't getting an open convention. They're getting a coronation. This is your pick. Nod your head, agree, and donate money and go work for someone that you did not choose. Someone who had a chance to be president 8 years ago that you just summarily said no. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. It's absolutely insane. But that's what we're dealing with. So obviously the Democrats don't care about democracy. Obviously they do not. Democrats do not care about democracy. So whenever you start hearing that we have to save democracy nonsense, say then why don't we have an open convention? Why don't we have an open convention? Because Kamala Harris did not campaign at all. You thought Joe Biden in the basement was the worst campaign you've ever seen. But Kamala Harris not voting, not campaigning at all, not putting forth one idea. And now she is the presumptive nominee of the Democrat Party. That's who these people are. Do you think they should be in charge of anything? Do you? Write it down in the comments. I'd love to know what you think about all of it. All right, we got to get out of here. Maybe for somebody else, because I said this in another video. The worst possible thing to happen to a Southern dude this time of year has happened here around me. No AC, dude. This is not this lovely sheen I have on me. My clothes aren't quite fitting well because they're a little damp. In any case, pray for us. Got to get out of here, make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn to love somebody. And for goodness sake, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye bye now.